of them is the future of the U.S. dollar and the American economy. The plan is for the Bilderberg Group players, through their allies in Washington and Wall Street, to continue to deceive millions of savers and investors who believe the hype about the supposed upturn in the economy. They're about to be set up for massive losses and searing financial pain in the months ahead. The famous or infamous bank stress test now being conducted by Washington, a little more than a shameless hoax based on the irrational assumption that the economy won't get as bad as it already is, or as it will get very, very shortly. Point number 2 is U.S. unemployment, solutions and assumptions. This is exactly how it is stated in the pre-meeting booklet sent out to the attendees. Bilderberg is quietly assuming that the American unemployment figures will hover around 14% by the end of this year, far higher than the official numbers released by the American government, which is about 8.5 or 9% at present. And another point concerning the United States: depression or prolonged stagnation, question mark. Again, this is how it is stated in the pre-meeting booklet sent out to the attendees a couple of weeks back. Bilderberg is looking at 2 options: either a prolonged, agonizing depression that dooms the world to decades of stagnation, decline, and poverty, or an intense but shorter depression that paves the way for a new, sustainable economic world order with less sovereignty but more efficiency.
And, well, I think what people really need to understand is, in America, for the next 2 to 5 years, here's what's going to happen. Number one, there's going to be an increased number of people losing their jobs, going from full to part-time, or getting a reduction in pay. So 75% of the people in the next 2 to 5 years are going to have less money coming in. Taxes and fees are going to go up, so more money is going out, okay? There is going to be a level of inflation, and that's still going to be controlled by the Fed, but there is going to be some type of inflation. It's undecided whether they want the inflation to be so rampant where the U.S. dollar no longer becomes the monetary supply of the world, the reserve currency. That's still being debated because, quite frankly, China wants their dollar to be the reserve currency.
85,000 more Americans are standing in the unemployment line as of last month, a number that even the most pessimistic forecasters didn't predict. The defense from the Obama administration: it's not as bad as it was.
In the first quarter of 2009, when we first came in, we were losing on average 691,000 jobs per month. With these new numbers in the fourth quarter, we were losing 69,000 jobs.
That's true, but we still...
But now some of the top economists in the U.S. are warning of a relapse, saying there's a 25 to 40% chance the American economy will fall into recession again in 2010, what's called a double-dip recession. The administration's top economist says she still believes jobs will come back by spring, but admits they are looking at other options to spur the economy.
I think the sense that we need to do more is overwhelming.
The House of Representatives has passed a bill that would commit another $155 billion for construction projects, money to states to keep teachers and police officers employed, and extensions of unemployment benefits. Much of that money, again, would have to be borrowed, and Republicans say the Obama administration has already spent too much.
As we're about to celebrate this one-year anniversary of the administration, what do we have? We have no health care, we have no jobs, we have no money, and we have $13 trillion worth of debt.
Spending is out of control, and it's not been brought under control. And that's what I'm fighting every day, because we've laid a debt on our children and grandchildren that is unconscionable.
Another financial story is bound to raise the issue of conscience this week. Bonuses will be announced for employees of America's largest banks, expected to number in the billions, which has the White House issuing a warning.
What we're going to do is redouble our efforts on financial regulatory reform.
But Senate leaders have said until health care legislation is passed, financial reform and increased stimulus spending is going to have to wait, meaning it could be at least another month of wondering where the economy is headed and what the government might do about it next. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Jobs cost American sovereignty, but it would fulfill the president's father's vision. Bill Tucker reports.
It's not a new idea. President Bush talked about it back in 1991.
It is a big idea, a new world order where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause.
It's an agenda that goes hand in hand with the United States, Mexico, and Canada working quietly and behind the scenes to promote a common market with common deregulation for the benefit of multinational corporations. It's an agenda that so far has resulted in an increase in U.S. corporate profits of 45%, while wages of American workers have risen only 3% in the last 5 years.
The main danger raised by Zellick's proposals is that the future of American international economic policy, which affects not only our nation's prosperity, but its national security, will be set not by the American people and their elected representatives, but by a small corporate elite that is accountable to no one but itself.
Effectively surrendering the sovereignty of the United States.
And as justification for trusting those who would have the authority, the argument is made that free trade promotes democracy and the welfare of the people. But, Lou, one has to look no further than China to see whether that, in fact, is true.
You know, talking about Zellick's proposal, it's not Zellick's proposal, it's Daddy's proposal. And people better understand that they mean exactly what they're saying. It's a new world order they're trying to create, and they're trying to do so not only without approval or consent of the governed in this country, but despite the popular will. This is a straightforward assault by the elitists.